This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good day, welcome to your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio for Thursday, July 7, 2022. I'm Kevin Smith. Stubborn block revenues for 2020 to 2021 pegged at $740.7 billion, earnings more than Guyana's national budget for same period. Failure to use World Bank loan further exposes Guyana to Exxon's exploitation. Government wants more emergency funds for cash giveaways, and police wrap a probe into theft at Diamond Drug Bond, awaiting Health Ministry's valuation of missing items. COVID-19 kills 2 Region 4 men, 144 new cases detected, 2 persons in ICU, and cost of living to double by year-end, according to the central bank. Kaieteur threatened with legal action over botched fuel deal, and Police Service Commission actions lawful, although body not fully constituted, says the AG, and says Constitution provides for quorum, which can act. Get the full details of these stories and more after the break.
Go loud or go home. Never miss out on your favorite local radio segments, local and international podcasts, and DJ mixes.
That's right.
With the Go Loud app. Discover podcasts like Common Sense, Red Table Talk, The Breakfast Club, and the best mixes from DJs worldwide, and much more. Stream all of your favorite local radio stations in one app. Go loud on what matters to you. Download the Go Loud app in the App or Play Store today and start listening.
And now for the news in detail. ExxonMobil and its Stubborn Block partners, in its first 2 years of full production, generated a whopping $740.7 billion in revenue from the sale of crude, netting more than this country's national budget during the same time. This is according to the financial statements for ESSO, Exploration and Production Guyana Limited, Hess Guyana Exploration Limited, and CNOOC Petroleum Guyana Limited for 2020 and 2021, the first 2 years of oil production. Guyana as a country presented in 2020 a national budget at some $330 billion, while in 2021 the national estimates were presented at $383 billion. According to the records of the financial companies, between the three, total revenue from the sale of crude oil in 2020, the first full year of oil production in the Stubborn Block, amounted to some $176 billion. And in other news, Guyana's downgraded performance on the World Bank Guyana Petroleum Resources Governance and Management Project loan is another indicator of how financially exposed the country remains when it comes to effectively protecting and managing the oil sector. Given that the country's institutional capacity building priorities seem not to be moving apace with oil resource development, the Institute for Energy Economics and Financial Analysis has reiterated the grim financial and environmental position Guyana further faces by not utilizing the 2019 loan. The institution has argued that not only is Guyana receiving too small a portion of the oil project revenue, but also is at risk due to weak environmental and fiscal contract requirements. The agency said that given the haste to move forward with drilling, the government and the oil companies have left Guyana and its people exposed to a series of pollution and financial risks. It was explained that one of the most important fiscal issues facing Guyana is determining if the oil companies are complying with the oil contract. Careful scrutiny of paperwork submitted with each oil lift and profit statement is important to make sure Guyana is protected. However, the World Bank review makes it clear that the government of Guyana does not have the right protections in place. And in other news, President Ali has signaled his government's intention to head back to Parliament for more funds to support cash giveaways and immediate infrastructural works for communities across Guyana. Ali made it clear that his government will need more cash and is already making preparations to get that money from the National Assembly. He said, and I quote, "I've already asked the Minister of Finance to immediately work on a supplementary provision." A supplementary provision means that the government will be seeking additional funds than what was budgeted or approved by the National Assembly for a specific project, and most likely it will have to come out from the contingency fund. And moving on, the Ministry of Health yesterday revealed that 2 persons who tested positive for COVID-19 have died. Their deaths have brought Guyana's COVID-19 death toll to 1,258. The latest fatalities are that of 2 men, a 66-year-old and a 73-year-old, both from Region 4. According to the ministry, both persons died on Tuesday while receiving treatment at a medical facility. The Health Ministry reported that within the last 24 hours, it has recorded 144 new COVID-19 cases, taking the total number of confirmed cases to 67,843. The dashboard also shows the 2 patients are in the COVID-19 ICU. And just before we take a short break, let's tell you that the cost of living is on the increase and is expected to more than double what it has increased during the first quarter of the year, according to analysis conducted by Central Bank, the Bank of Guyana, and documented in its latest quarterly report on the nation's financial state of affairs. According to the bank's report, at the end of March, the inflation rate for the country stood at 1.7%, mainly driven by increased prices in the fuel and food categories. As it relates to projections, however, Bank of Guyana forecasts the end of the year inflation rate is expected to be 4.1%, primarily as a result of higher world food and oil prices due to supply shortfalls. You're listening to Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and of course 99.5 FM. The time is now 12:07. We'll return after the break.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Welcome back. Let us continue with your news. The Guyana Police Force has completed its investigation into the alleged theft of pharmaceutical supplies at the Ministry of Health's Diamond East Bank Demerara Drugs Bond, but is currently awaiting the value of the missing items. In providing an update on the probe, Crime Chief Wendell Blanham said that the investigation is almost complete, but they are still to receive the value of the items in question. Blanham explained that the ministry would have conducted an appraisal to ascertain the missing items. He said that the audit of the bond was conducted by the ministry, but was sent to the police with no value provided for the list of items. Once that information is provided, the file will be sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions for advice, Blanham related. The crime chief could not go in depth on the investigation, but he did inform that several of those arrested for the missing supplies are currently out on bail. Meanwhile, the number of people affected by hunger globally rose to as many as 828 million in 2021, an increase of about 46 million since 2020 and 150 million since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, according to a United Nations report that provides fresh evidence that the world is moving further away from its goal of ending hunger, food insecurity, and malnutrition in all its forms by 2030. The 2022 edition of the State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World report presents updates on the food security and nutrition situation around the world, including the latest estimates of the cost and affordability of a healthy diet. In other news, after being out of operations for over 3 months due to mechanical issues to one of the critical parts, the Kaieteur sugar factory is expected to be back in full operation in another week's time. However, industry insiders said that the estate could struggle to find fields and factory workers. While the factory was down, a number of the workers were urged to seek alternative jobs. Some were also offered part-time jobs outside of the industry. Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa said the mechanical problem at the factory has now been fixed. The Kaieteur sugar estate has been closed since March this year due to mechanical issues. And now let's tell you, Guy Oil woes in relation to an incomplete transaction involving Jason Aaron of Aaron's Royalty Inc. and the supply of a quantity of fuel valued some $3.6 million is deepening, with the fuel dealer now demanding payment, failing which he will proceed with legal action. Writing on behalf of his client, attorney-at-law UC Anderson, in a missive to Guy Oil's general manager, Molly Hassan, referenced an oral agreement between the Aaron's Royalty Inc.'s principal and the oil company in April last for the supply of D6 heavy fuel oil. According to Anderson, in that agreement, the company was contracted to supply, and I quote, "You agreed to accept delivery worth a total of $3.6 million US." In other news, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlal has rejected the contention that the ruling PPPC has not complied with the Constitution in its appointment of Clifton Hicken as Acting Commissioner of Police. His comments followed contentions raised by Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford that the Police Service Commission is not properly constituted without the chairman of the Public Service Commission, and as such, the promotions of senior officers announced on Sunday are null and void. Ford, who is also the Shadow Attorney General in the National Assembly, said the same obtains for the junior ranks, as Clifton Hicken is also not properly appointed as the Acting Commissioner of Police and therefore could not have authorized the promotion of junior ranks. It is now 12 hours 12 in Guyana. We wrap things up with the page 7 of today's Kaieteur News. Today we report that Irfan Ali administration will soon be approaching the National Assembly for more money to fund their cash giveaway scheme. It is a giveaway because instead of putting together a sensible, comprehensive plan of cash transfers, we have an administration going forward around the country, sharing money to a selected few. We have said here before that Guyanese can benefit far more if our leaders would seek adjustments to the oil contracts with ExxonMobil and their partners, which can guarantee this country higher royalties and profits. Instead, we see the President, Vice President, Prime Minister, and the Cabinet of Ministers making the rounds daily for photo ops and malas and delivering fine speeches. The tight arc of such endeavors speak of the work of firefighters putting out fires, while hauling themselves contentedly away that another potential flare-up has been tamed. It is of reacting to this moment instead of responding in a manner that is laced through with what is comprehensive, also viable, not just for the beleaguered and upset Africa community, but also for the entire range of communities that make up this Guyanese nation. And that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.